So anyway, then Danielson goes to the ring to wrestle Jake Hager. And honestly, as we know, Jake Hager is an awkward bum and has been ever since he debuted. I'd never really seen him in the WWF, but I thought, okay, he was there and they used him for a while, so he's going to be okay. And no, he's rotten and he hadn't gotten any better and he never will. But I thought, Danielson is so good, he can make Hager look decent, right?
An awkward bum is what you call him.
Awkward bum. He's awkward and he's a bum. He's got that fucking moop face. The Moops. That's who it was. The Moops. He's got that moop face. And he stands there and his fucking fashion sense when he's in dress clothes is ridiculous. He looks like a CPA on a golf course. And his wrestling, he doesn't have the timing. He doesn't have the aggression. He doesn't have a higher gear. He's awkward. He's got the size. He's a legitimate shooter. We've seen him do nothing great in the way of professional wrestling. But I figured I had hope for Danielson. But within 2 minutes, they're out on the floor and Hager had spinebustered Danielson through a table just as a spot, and they are on the floor forever. And then whenever Hager takes over in a match and he's controlling somewhat the tempo, even if the other more experienced guy is calling it, shit slows down. You keep waiting for him to be impressive or good, and he never is. And it's there. And finally, Danielson made a comeback. The people are with him like fucking crazy. Bryan Danielson, maybe Punk is more over. Danielson, I think, is more beloved and popular with those people. So the people are with him on the comeback, and he kept going for an armbar, label lock, or whatever the fuck, and they did a little back and forth, and finally, Danielson hits the knee. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Right finish, right result. But then here come the heels in. They've got to get heat. Quotation marks, I say heat again, as every time, every match is over, there's got to be an afterbirth. So now the heels jump on him. Why? And then here comes Claudio and Yuta to make the save. At this point, why don't they just come down to begin with? Because everybody knows they're coming. I mean, this is the most ridiculous run-in company I've ever seen, and I've seen companies bad on run-ins. In the territory days, the guys used to tell me, you know how you can tell when the company's doing too many run-ins? When there's a fucking big post-match angle going on in the ring and the bell's ringing and shit's flying and people are getting shit kicked out of them. The fans aren't watching the ring. The fans have turned their head to the locker room entrance to see who's coming out. That means you've done too many run-ins. I can imagine that these people have their heads toward the back. So Claudio and Wheeler Useless jump in on the other Jericho appreciators, and they fight off. They actually fight to the back, through the back entranceway. They fight completely out of the arena, so Jericho can come to the ring with a chair and draw back, and he's going to smite Danielson, but Garcia comes from behind Jericho and grabs the chair away from him. Now, Garcia's just apologized earlier for interfering with Jericho and doubting him and blah, blah, blah. Now he's back to doing that. And then Danielson hits Jericho with the knee while he's disrupted by Garcia. Your thoughts on this contest?
It was all right when Danielson was doing stuff with the crowd behind him, but Hager is just death on TV. No one wants to see him, even if he's against Danielson, in my case. And then you said it, the run-ins. Let's just go to the bigger issue, this feud. The Jericho Appreciation Society feuding with the Blackpool Combat Club, or at least certain members of the Combat Club. I don't know where Steve Regal is. He's supposed to be the manager. He's never there.
Well, that's because he's on color. Because they have to have him on color to make a 4-man announce booth because they don't have enough announcers. I'm not saying Regal shouldn't do color, but drop somebody out of the... Anyway.
They got to get Danielson away from all this. He was on a trajectory. They took him completely off it. Just put him on another trajectory, end this Jericho thing, let him beat Jericho at the pay-per-view, and then everyone move on. Him and Daniel Garcia could hug. Maybe he could adopt him, bring him into his home, and we could all move on.